Everyone on the outer stations knew one truth. Alien royalty was not meant to be approached. They were not like human leaders, who smiled for cameras and shook hands. Alien royals were living symbols of old power. Entire wars had been fought because of a single royal decision. The princess took a hesitant step back, her glowing eyes never leaving Evan. He felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, not because of the platform, but because of the weight in her gaze. "You need to leave," she said again, her voice trembling now. "Before they notice." Who will notice me?" Evan asked, confusion and fear twisting in his stomach. He had fixed power grids on unstable stations before, but nothing in his life had prepared him for this alien royal speaking. To him, like he was both precious and dangerous. She shook her head slowly, as if trying to organize her thoughts against a tide of memories. You shouldn't exist here. Your face, it belongs to a line that should have ended long ago. They thought it was destroyed, erased from history. And yet, here you are." Evan's heart skipped a beat. "You mean someone tried to kill me?" he asked. He didn't fully understand, but instinct told him she wasn't speaking figuratively. "Yes," she said, her voice quiet now, almost mournful. "They ended many like you. Not just humans, not just your kind. Your bloodline. It was dangerous to the galaxy, and now it is awake again." She stopped, biting her lip. "I warned you because if they see you, if they recognize that line, they will come for both of us." Evan's mind spun. His life had been ordinary, small, meaningless. Now he was the kind of person a galaxy-spanning threat would notice. He felt tiny under her gaze, yet something in him stiffened. The fear was real, yes, but so was a strange fire rising inside him. "Wait," he said, stepping forward carefully. "I don't know who they are, or what bloodline you're talking about, but I'm just me. I didn't choose this. And his voice faltered, "and I'm not going to run without knowing why." The princess stared at him, her glowing markings pulsing softly. "You do not understand," she whispered. "They are not like humans. They do not forgive. They do not hesitate. If they discover you, the galaxy will burn again. Your face, Evan. It is a signal. A warning. It is a memory they cannot erase." Evan's stomach dropped. A warning, a memory. He didn't feel important. He had spent years fixing machines, not fighting wars. But the way she looked at him told him that he mattered more than he ever could imagine. "Then teach me," he said. "Tell me what I need to do to survive. If I'm a danger to them, then I'll face it. I won't let anyone die because of me." The princess blinked at him, her expression a mixture of shock and something softer, something almost human. She had warned him, told him to flee, yet here he was, looking at danger and choosing courage instead. "You do not understand what you are asking," she said. "Even knowing the truth could kill you." "Then tell me anyway," Evan replied, his voice firm. "I've survived worse than being ignored. I can survive knowing the truth." A silence fell between them. The station hummed softly around them, but the emptiness of the observation deck felt endless. The stars outside were calm and distant, but inside, Evan could feel the tension build in an invisible storm waiting to strike. Finally, she spoke, her voice quiet but sharp. "Very well. You must know this. You are the last of a line they tried to erase when humanity first reached the stars. Your ancestors, they held power the galaxy feared. They could challenge empires, shift alliances, change destinies. That power lives in you, even if you do not yet see it. Evan's mind raced. Power, destiny. He had been a simple technician. How could any of that be true? Yet, as he looked into her glowing eyes, he felt a strange recognition. Something deep inside him stirred, a memory he had never known. You, she whispered, almost to herself. You are the one I was told never to meet. But here you are, alive, alive, Evan repeated. Then why warn me? Because, she said, stepping closer, her voice trembling, you are not just a human to them. You are the spark that could start everything again. And if they find you first, there will be no second chance. Evan swallowed hard. Every instinct screamed at him to run. But he did not move. He could not. He looked at her, standing there alone, glowing and beautiful and terrified in her own way. And he made a decision, a choice. He did not fully understand, but felt in his bones. I'm not leaving, he said quietly. Not without knowing the truth, and not without helping you. The princess gasped softly, her hand hovering near her chest. She had warned him, begged him, tried to protect him, but here he was. Human courage shining brighter than any warning. And in that moment, the first true connection formed between the alien princess and the human, who should not exist, a connection that would ignite the coming storm. Because the galaxy had forgotten him. But it would not forget him for long. Evan had expected danger, but he was not prepared for how fast it would arrive. The station, which had seemed calm and lifeless a moment ago, shuddered violently. Lights flickered across the observation deck. Alarms blared, red warnings flashing along every surface. Evan grabbed the nearest console, trying to stabilize the minor tremors. But this was not a power failure. Not this time. They're here, the princess whispered, her voice tight with fear. Her glowing eyes scanned the hallways leading to the deck. The ones who hunted your ancestors. The shadow hunters. Evan froze. Hunters? What do you mean? Who are they? They are the galaxy's executioners, she said, her markings pulsing brighter with anxiety. They erase bloodlines. Entire families. Your family? They come for anyone who bears your face. And now, they have found us. A deep rumble shook the deck. The walls of the station vibrated. Evan's stomach dropped as the airlock doors hissed open at the far end of the platform. Dark shapes moved inside, figures tall and impossible, almost like shadows walking upright. Their armor reflected no light, only darkness. Their faces were hidden, but their presence radiated menace so intense that Evan could feel it in his bones. They see me, he whispered. Panic rose like fire. They can see me. They sense the bloodline, the princess said. Her voice trembled as she took a step closer to Evan. You cannot fight them alone. They will kill you without hesitation. Evan's mind raced. He was a technician. He knew systems, circuits, machines, but not how to fight immortal hunters who erased lives. And yet, something inside him hardened. He could not run. He could not leave her. Not now. What do we do? He asked, gripping the edge of the console as the shadowy figures advanced. The princess's eyes narrowed. We fight, she said, or we die trying. But first, we move to the inner sanctum. There, we can seal the doors, and buy time. Evan followed her as they ran down narrow corridors, his breath quick, heart hammering. Every step echoed like thunder. Behind them, the shadow hunters moved silently, impossibly fast. The sounds of the station pipes creaking, lights flickering were drowned out by the pounding of Evan's pulse. "You're not just human," the princess said suddenly, running alongside him. "I can feel it. The bloodline inside you. It carries power. They fear it. That is why they are relentless." Evan's mind spun. Power. He had fixed failing stations, rerouted circuits, and survived storms in space, but power like this. He had never felt it. And yet, as he ran, something awakened inside him, a strange strength. A focus he did not understand. They reached the inner sanctum, a large chamber with thick energy doors. The princess slammed her hand onto the control panel, and the doors closed with a heavy thud, shielding them from immediate danger. Evan pressed himself against the wall, panting, watching the shadows outside move in frustration. "They won't stop," she said. "They have tracked your line for centuries. But here, we can buy moments. Moments matter." Evan wiped sweat from his brow. "Then we make those moments count. Teach me what to do. I can't just hide." The princess's eyes softened, a mixture of admiration and worry. "You are reckless," she said softly. "But perhaps that recklessness is what will save us." Outside, the shadow hunters circled, their black silhouettes a terrifying blur. Evan's fear was sharp, but it no longer froze him. He felt alive, his senses heightened. Every hum of the station, every vibration under his feet seemed amplified. He realized he could anticipate movement, react faster than ever before. The princess noticed. "Your bloodline," she said quietly. "It awakens in moments of danger. That is why they fear you. And that is why you must survive." Evan looked at her. She was glowing faintly, her presence a beacon in the dark. And in that moment, he made a promise not just to himself, but to her. "I will survive," he said, "no matter what, and I will fight for both of us." She met his gaze, her fear still there, but mingled with something else, hope. Perhaps it was foolish. Perhaps it was impossible, but in that tiny spark, a bond formed between the human and the alien princess. The shadow hunters outside banged against the reinforced doors, testing them, but Evan felt a strange calm. He did not know what lay ahead, or how many dangers awaited, but he knew this: he would not run. Not from the galaxy, not from destiny, not from her. And for the first time since he arrived at Evan realized that fear could be turned into courage, and courage into something far greater than survival. The battle for the station and for his life was about to begin. The inner sanctum was quiet now, but the silence was sharp, almost painful. Evan pressed his back against the thick wall, trying to slow his racing heart. He could hear the shadow hunters moving outside, their black silhouettes pressing against the energy doors. Each heartbeat was a countdown. The princess stood a few feet away, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "You can feel it, can't you?" she asked softly. "The power inside you. It is waking." Evan shook his head, trying to ignore the strange tingling in his limbs. "I don't feel anything," he said, though a small pulse of heat ran through his arms and chest. "I'm just scared, that's all." "No," she said firmly. "This is not fear. Fear would freeze you. What you feel is recognition. Your blood remembers. Your ancestors survived impossible odds, and their strength flows through you. You just need to trust it." Evan stared at her, doubtful, but when he glanced at the energy doors, he felt the truth of her words. The shadow hunters outside were not ordinary enemies. They were relentless, precise, and deadly. Normal weapons, normal tactics, none of it would work. He needed something more. Something inside him he had never known. The princess stepped closer, raising her hands. Her glowing markings pulsed faster, almost like a heartbeat. "Focus on me," she whispered. "See your power. Don't fight it. Let it guide you." Evan closed his eyes, letting her words settle. He thought of everything he had survived: the collapsing power nodes, the isolation of space, the long nights fixing systems while the station groaned around him. He thought of his ancestors, whispered in her words, the line that had survived centuries of war and death, and then he felt it, a warmth spreading from his chest to his hands, a clarity sharpening his vision. The world seemed louder, brighter, sharper. He could feel the energy of the station flowing through him, the hum of the walls, the pulse of the doors, even the faint vibrations of the hunters outside. He opened his eyes. His hands glowed faintly, a soft golden light that startled him. I feel it," he whispered. "It's like the station. Like everything is part of me." The princess nodded, relief and awe in her eyes. "Yes, that is your bloodline. That is what they fear. You can manipulate the flow of energy around you. You can defend yourself, even against them." Evan swallowed hard. "But I've never fought anyone like them." "How do I use it?" "You do not fight with weapons," she said. "You fight with what is inside you. Let it guide your hands, your instincts. Let it protect you. And when the doors fall, we run together and you fight beside me." The energy doors shuddered suddenly, sending a vibration through the floor. Evan's heart jumped. The shadow hunters were testing the limits. One push, one misstep, and the sanctum could be breached. "Now," she said, her voice urgent but calm, "feel your power. Control it." Evan raised his hands instinctively. The golden light intensified. He reached out, almost unconsciously, and the energy doors shivered as if responding to him. Another push from the hunters, and the doors held firm. His heart surged. He could actually hold them back. "This is incredible," he whispered, amazed at what he could do. Fear was still there, but it had transformed into something sharp and purposeful. He was not just a human technician anymore. He was part of a bloodline the galaxy had tried to erase. That bloodline was alive in him. The princess smiled faintly, her glow steadying as she took his hand. "You are ready," she said. "But this is only the beginning. They will not stop. You must be faster, stronger, sharper, and you must trust yourself completely." Evan nodded, determination rising inside him. "I will," he said. "I don't know everything, but I will protect you. And I will survive. For both of us." A pounding shook the doors again. The shadow hunters were patient, but Evan was ready. He felt the energy within him pulse in harmony with his heartbeat. His fear had not vanished, had transformed into courage. The station no longer felt like a cage. It felt like a part of him, alive and responsive. The princess stepped beside him. Her presence was steady, reassuring, and in that moment, Evan realized something important. He was no longer alone. Together, they could face anything, even the hunters who had erased countless lives. And with that, the first strike of the battle that would shape the galaxy had already begun. The energy doors trembled violently. Evan could hear the shadow hunters pressing harder, their dark silhouettes like living shadows, moving with impossible speed and precision. The inner sanctum shook with the impact of their assault. Every second felt like a lifetime. Evan tightened his fists. The golden energy that had awakened inside him pulsed with his heartbeat. He could feel the station itself respond, the energy flowing through the walls and floors, answering his will. He was terrified, but no longer frozen by fear. He was ready. "Stay close to me," the princess said, her hand brushing his arm. Her glow was steady, bright, and warm. "We must move when they breach, and when they do, you will protect us both." Evan nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "I'll do whatever it takes." A sharp crash echoed through the chamber as the energy doors began to bend under the pressure. The shadow hunters were stronger than he had imagined. Their forms pressed forward like liquid darkness, and their glowing weapons carved sparks across the walls. Then the doors shuddered and cracked. The first figure slipped through. Evan's breath caught, but he did not panic. His hands glowed brighter, and he extended them instinctively. A wave of golden energy shot forward, hitting the intruder. The shadow hunters staggered back, taken by surprise, and then Evan realized he had not just pushed him. He had absorbed the impact into himself, feeling the enemy's strength flow through him and redirecting it. The princess's eyes widened. "You can do it," she whispered. "You can fight them." Another hunter entered, moving faster, more calculated. Evan's hands moved without thinking. He sent another pulse of energy, stronger this time. It struck with force, sending the enemy crashing against the wall. Sparks flew. Evan felt the station vibrate beneath his feet, but he stayed centered. Focused. The princess raised her own hands, her glowing markings casting light across the chamber. "Together," she shouted. Evan mirrored her movements instinctively. Their energy intertwined, golden and silver light twisting around them like a shield. The shadow hunters paused, their movements hesitant for the first time. They had faced armies, empires, entire fleets, but never anything like this. A human and a princess, glowing with the power of a forgotten bloodline. Standing united, Evan felt something awaken deeper inside him. Memories that were not his own brushed against his mind, visions of ancestors surviving impossible battles, fighting against overwhelming odds, standing fearless against annihilation. Their courage became his courage. Their strength became his strength. A hunter lunged forward, faster than he could see. But Evan's reflexes were sharper now. He caught the enemy's arm mid-air and redirected the force, sending him crashing into the ceiling with a shockwave of energy. The chamber shook violently. Evan's heart pounded, but he did not falter. The princess smiled faintly, her fear giving way to determination. "You are learning," she said. "Good now, we must push them back further. Every second counts." Evan nodded, his body moving almost on its own. He felt alive in a way he had never felt before. He was more than a technician, more than a human. He was the spark the galaxy feared. And now he was using that spark to protect the only person he cared about in this endless, dangerous void. The shadow hunters regrouped, moving as a single, terrifying force. But Evan's confidence did not waver. With a sharp gesture, he sent a pulse of energy surging outward, knocking two of them back into the reinforced walls. Sparks flew from their weapons as the energy struck them, and the princess mirrored his movements, adding her strength to his. For the first time, the hunters faltered. They had expected fear, hesitation, weakness. They had not expected courage. They had not expected him. Evan's chest burned, his hands glowed brighter, and a roaring energy surged through the chamber. He could feel the station bending to his will, responding to every thought, The shadow hunters staggered, one by one, as his and the princess's combined power held them at bay. The princess looked at him, awe shining in her glowing eyes. "You are more than I imagined," she said softly. "More than anyone could have imagined." Evans swallowed, breathing hard. I just want us to survive," he said. "I won't let them take you. Or me. Not today. Not ever." The shadow hunters were still outside, waiting, relentless. But Evan no longer felt helpless. The fear was still there, had not vanished, but it had been transformed into something stronger. Courage, determination, and the burning certainty that he could face impossible odds. And for the first time, Evan realized that no matter how dark the galaxy became, no matter how powerful the enemies were, human courage could shine brighter than any shadow. The first confrontation had ended, but the real battle, the battle for survival, for the galaxy, and for the mysterious bond between human and princess was only beginning. After the clash with the shadow hunters, the inner sanctum fell silent again. Evan leaned against the wall, his hands still glowing faintly, his chest heaving. He had survived the first attack, but the adrenaline left him shaky. The princess stood beside him, her glowing markings dimming slightly as she caught her breath. "You fought well," she said softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Better than I expected. But you need to understand why they came for you." Evan looked at her, exhausted but alert. "Then tell me," he said. "I need to know. I can't keep fighting blindly." The princess nodded, her eyes solemn. "It is time you know the truth about your bloodline, and why your face matters so much." She motioned for him to follow her deeper into the sanctum. A hidden chamber opened, walls covered in ancient scripts and glowing symbols. Holographic images flickered to life, showing distant galaxies, planets, and battles long past. Evan's eyes widened. He had never seen anything like this. "You are not just a human," she said quietly. "You are the last living descendant of a line that was believed destroyed. Your ancestors were warriors, leaders, and guardians of knowledge that could shape the galaxy. They were feared because they had the power to unite civilizations or destroy them." Evan's head spun. "I am just a technician. I don't have any of that." "You do," she said firmly. "It lies dormant, waiting for a moment of need. That moment has come. When the shadow hunters learned your face survived, they acted immediately. They do not forgive, they do not hesitate, and they are relentless because the galaxy cannot allow your line to rise again." He felt a chill. "So, everything I've survived until now, all of it was leading to this?" "Yes," she replied. "And you must understand that it is not just about survival. Your bloodline carries the spark of change. You can protect the weak, challenge tyrants, and alter the fate of countless worlds. That is why they hunted your ancestors and why they hunt you now." Evan stared at the holograms, at faces he did not know, at wars he could never have imagined. "And me?" he asked quietly. "Why me?" "I didn't do anything." The princess's eyes softened, a hint of sadness in them. "Because you exist," she said simply. "Because you survived when you should not have. Because the spark must continue. You are the hope they tried to erase, and now it rests in your hands." Evan's mind raced. Fear and disbelief battled with a growing sense of purpose. He had never wanted to be a hero. He had never wanted to fight wars. But the galaxy had chosen him anyway. And if he ran now, countless lives, including hers, would be lost. I don't know if I can do this, he admitted, voice trembling. I'm not ready. The princess stepped closer, placing her hand on his chest, where his heart raced. No one is ever ready, Evan. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is standing up even when fear is stronger. And right now, you are ready enough. He took a deep breath, feeling the power inside him pulse like a living thing. The golden energy flowed through his veins, sharper, stronger, brighter than before. The fear was still there, but it had changed. It had become determination. And you? He asked, looking at her. Why are you risking yourself for me? She smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and worry. Because I believe in what you are. Because I know that together we have a chance. And because no one else can stop what is coming if you fall. Outside, the shadow hunters were regrouping, readying themselves for another strike. But inside the chamber, Evan felt something stronger than fear. He felt purpose. He felt courage. He felt power, real, unshakable power, coursing through him like a river. I understand, he said finally. I may be scared. I may not know everything, but I will not let them win. Not now. Not ever. The princess nodded, her glowing eyes softening. Then we will face them together, she said, and when the storm comes, we will show the galaxy that courage, hope, and humanity cannot be erased. Evan clenched his fists, feeling the hum of energy respond to him. His fear had become fire, his doubt had become resolve. And for the first time, he realized that survival alone was not enough. He was ready to fight. Not just for himself, not just for her, but for a galaxy that had almost forgotten what it meant to. Hope, the shadow hunter's silhouettes appeared at the outer doors again, but Evan did not flinch. He was no longer just a human. He was the spark of a bloodline the galaxy had tried to erase, and now he would burn brighter than any darkness. Civilizations had burned because someone looked at them the wrong way. That was why the human froze the moment he saw her. She stood alone on the upper observation deck of Station Verex-9, staring out into the stars. Her tall figure was wrapped in long, flowing robes that shimmered softly under the station lights. Her skin reflected faint colors, like light passing through crystal. Glowing markings ran along her arms and neck, ancient symbols that carried authority older than Earth itself. She was an alien, princess, and she was completely unguarded. The human's name was Evan Hale. He was a junior systems technician, nothing important. He repaired power lines, checked control panels, and stayed out of trouble. He had never spoken to an alien royal before. He was never supposed to. The moment he realized who she was, his heart began to pound. He turned to leave quietly. That was when her voice stopped him. Human, do not come closer. Her voice was calm, but there was something hidden inside it. Not anger, not pride, fear. Evan stopped walking. Slowly, he turned back. I'm sorry, he said quickly. I didn't know anyone was here. I'll go. The princess turned to face him. Her glowing eyes locked onto his from across the platform. For a long moment, she said nothing, as if deciding something very important. You should leave, she said. This place is not safe for you. Evan frowned slightly. This is a public deck. She shook her head. Not for you. Something about the way she said it made his chest feel heavy. She was not warning him like a ruler. She was warning him like someone trying to save a life. I don't understand, Evan said carefully. You do not need to, she replied. You only need to go. He took a step backward. Then the lights flickered. The deep hum of the station dropped in pitch for half a second. Evan felt it in his bones. Years of working on failing stations had trained his instincts. The power grid was unstable. Evan looked toward the nearby control panel. Warning symbols flashed red dot. The princess noticed too. No, she whispered. Not now. Evan hesitated. Every rule screamed at him to leave. But if the power node failed, the observation ring would lose gravity. Anyone near the edge would be pulled into open space, including her. I have to fix that, Evan said. Her eyes widened. Human, do not. He ran. Evan dropped to one knee at the control panel and began working fast. His hands moved on instinct, rerouting energy, forcing manual overrides, ignoring the alarms screaming at him to stop. The station shook once, then slowly. The hum returned to normal. The light steadied. The warnings disappeared. Silence filled the deck. Evan let out a breath he did not realize he was holding. He stood up and turned toward the princess. It's stable now, he said. You're safe. She stared at him. Not at his uniform. Not at his rank badge. At his face. Her glowing eyes widened. Her breath caught in her throat. She took a step back, her calm breaking for the first time. No, she whispered. Evan felt uneasy. Is something wrong? She raised one shaking hand toward him, as if she were seeing something impossible. That face, she said softly. That face was erased from the galaxy. Evan's stomach tightened. I don't know what you mean. Her markings began to glow brighter, reacting to something deep inside her. You look like him, she said, like the one who was meant to die. Evan felt cold. I'm just a technician, he said. I've never even left human space before this assignment. The princess swallowed. That makes it worse, she whispered. She took another step away from him, fear now clearly written across her features. They must not see you, she said urgently. If the others learn that you exist, they will come. Who will come? Evan asked. She looked past him, toward the dark hallways of the station. Those who ended worlds, she replied, and in that moment, Evan realized that fixing a power failure might have been the smallest mistake of his life.